Hey guys, Lazy Man here. Today I'm going to show you how I went ahead and modded the hard drive door on the Skull Crusher. And originally the client wanted me to mount this fan grill, directly to the door there. But I just wasn't happy the way it was looking. So I decided to actually build a shroud to actually offset it from the door. And this is just me getting measurements and making sure that everything's going to line up. The material that I used is mesh steel. And I'm just verifying that everything matches my marks on the steel. And I used a die grinder here to actually cut out for the tabs. And I believe I made that 1.5 inches wide, with the shroud being 5/8 of an inch wide, and then the tabs being the remainder. And then here, just me filing it down, making sure that everything is nice and square. Again, matching it up to the template to make sure everything lines up and the tabs are in the right spots. Now this is something I don't recommend anybody doing. I took a 9-inch grinder. You can see I kind of rigged it up, and that was just so I could actually square off the bottom here, so everything sits flat when I mount this. And as you can see, it turned out pretty nice. And here I had to cut a tab and a slot here. This is so I can keep this in a circle, and then just ran the tab through the slot and bent it over. And then for extra measure, I did go ahead and weld that together so it doesn't come apart. And then this is a hard template. I have a 4-inch piece of pipe that I mounted it on. This way I can get a true circle, make sure that it's, it's symmetrical. Anyway, as you can see, this is after I'm sanding it. It looks really nice. Me verifying it again on the template, just making sure that everything is in place before I go ahead and paint it. And here I did choose to use the plastic dip paint with a self-etching primer. And the plastic dip is about the closest thing that I can find that matches the actual interior of the Corsair 800D case, not only in color but in texture. Now this is the actual front door. I went ahead and laid it out on there. I marked where my tabs are, and I'm going to go ahead and use the end grinder to go ahead and cut those slots. And you need to be careful, because if anybody's ever used a Dremel or a die grinder, they know that that blade can kick back at you. And if you're not careful and it slips on you, you can risk marring up the door, and there goes your door. So anyway, this is me just mocking it up. You can see the tabs going through the bottom there, and me putting the fan grill on, making sure that all lines up. And everything looks pretty nice. So now we're going to go ahead and drill out for the standoffs. And again, I used I believe that was a 1/8 inch bit for my screws. And if anybody's like me, we're pulling off the tape now, and I'm always excited to see how it turns out once you remove the tape. And it turned out pretty nice. Had to do a little filing to clean it up. Alright, here I'm using 1/4 inch stainless steel tube. It's a .035 wall. I'm going to go ahead and sand it down with 1000 grit sandpaper, and I want to get it to where it is a chrome-like finish. And this way, when I spray it with an anodized paint, which you'll see in a minute here, you'll actually get an anodized look from it. And you need to start with a chrome-like finish. I did cut these standoffs 5/8 of an inch long. I used a tube cutter to go ahead and cut those. And as you can see here, this is mocked up on the fan grill. I use rubber washers on either side. And this not only helps for anti-vibration, but it actually makes it easier to mount. You can actually tighten the screw down without marring up the finish. As you can see here, we used an adhesion promoter and the Duplicolor anodized red paint. And you can see it turned out pretty nice. So anyway, this is it mocked up onto the door itself, and I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. The actual anodized red, it's a nice contrast, with the black and the black grill. So I need to clean up the plastic shavings though. Anyway, my plan here, as you can see, is off the right side. I did drill a hole. I am going to either put lights around the shroud itself, or I'm thinking about just putting 2 red LED lights in the eyes of the skull. I'll do that at a future date. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And this is Lazy Man, and I'll catch up with you next time.